Hi.
Hey!
Hello. That was the weirdest countdown ever, Jesse. 3, 2, 1. Going live. Going live. And you're live now. Wow. Thanks, YouTube. You're
Ooh,
great.
YouTube.
Awesome. You know what? That's pretty awesome. So this screen on Zoom on their end is almost exactly identical to what mine is. So that's actually convenient for me.
Perfect.
Hey everybody in the chat, how's it going? Thanks for joining us for a second day in a row here of doing, just hanging out with you guys. How are you guys doing? How's the chat? What are you guys up to these days?
The chat's doing great, man. I can tell. I don't even have to look at it.
How do you? Wow. Do you have like a sixth sense?
I just know these things, right?
Can you read people's emotions? Are you detective?
Only from a distance, not when they're right up in my face, but only when they're miles and miles away.
Wow. And in text form.
Yes, and in text form, especially when I don't read it. If I read it, it wrecks it.
Oof.
That's
awesome.
Very specific and unique skill you have there, Joe.
It is, yes. Not very many people have that.
Yeah, the superpower that doesn't come in handy all that often. That's great. Someone said they drew Nori in math class today. That's fantastic. Thanks for drawing him. I'm sure he appreciates that. Mm-hmm. As a fictional being. So how are you guys doing today? How are you, Jeff? How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. And as we start out, we might as well introduce ourselves for those that aren't used to seeing the whole Black Static and Swerve gang. So I'm Jeffrey, and I've been with the group for clearly close to a decade, but we've had the company really full force for the last 3 years. Audio consultant, an editor, and a friend to all. So I'm looking forward to tonight. And the album released today. So great news there.
Nice.
Yeah. How many people listened to the album on Spotify today? Because I did.
I did. I kind of did.
It sounds awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird though, because when I watch the songs on YouTube, like I'll listen to the whole song list on YouTube, and at the end of episode 0, you always get the hoi hoi, blah 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 blah, come to our website, and you don't get that now. So it just goes right into detective without the little thing to go to the website.
Well, that's a bummer. That's one of the best parts of that song is the finisher hoi hoi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, it's really great. A lot of people complained about that back in the day. They're like, man, I love repeating this thing, but the hoi hoi gets me every time. I'm like, could you not?
Nope, the video is what it is.
It is what it is, man. You just have to sit through a hoi hoi.
If you don't like it, go to the website.
There you go. If you don't like it, buy it. Or now you can listen to it on Spotify.
That's right.
And we're really pleased to let everybody know that over 9,400 folks have in less than a day watched The Chase. That's on YouTube. So that's awesome.
Yeah, wow. Exciting. Very cool. Well, I guess, Kyle, you're next in line. You want to introduce yourself?
Thanks. I think you just introduced me. I'm Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
You kind of took my steam there.
Dang it. Well, all right.
Romance.
You want to introduce me then?
You just did such a good job introducing me. I think you can handle it.
Okay. Well, tell me about yourself, Kyle. Do you happen to be my brother?
I do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What other things can I say that can introduce you without you having to speak about it? Tell me more.
Well, without speaking?
No.
I'm not that good.
I want you to speak with your hands.
My introduction, I don't know sign language.
Bummer. Me neither.
No,
because I wouldn't have been able to read it if you did.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, my brother's awesome, and that's my claim to fame. So go ahead.
Awesome. Well, Kyle just introduced me, so I'm awesome. Hey guys, my name's Awesome. And Joe, what about you? Is your name Joe?
Which
It's
is
hard to
Joe?
introduce
Our
someone without saying their
there's
name.
only
Like, what do you say? You know,
He's
am I?
the shipping department.
That's right.
Oh,
Currently, shipping department.
I'm BSS shipping department. Thanks to you guys, I'm really busy because you guys are ordering a bunch of stuff, which is great. But I wanted to show you guys. Look at this. Look at all these plushies. They're all looking for a home. You know, we got USB drives. They're looking for a home. We got CDs. All this stuff.
Box.
They're looking for homes.
Boxes
wanna
are
send
looking
it
for
to you.
homes as well.
And as
Adopt a
promised,
box a day.
yesterday, when you order something from our store,
Oh,
you get box.
box. Whoa, you just amped it up, man. You just amped it up. Dang.
Yep. So it's a lot of fun over here. And so I might not stay too long because I have a lot of orders to ship out. I'm hoping to ship all these out on Monday, and there's like 42 of them, right? Last I counted. So they
Wow.
all gotta get packed up and shipped and stuff. So
That's hilarious, dude. I love it. I love that you wrote box on the side of it. That's so great.
hey, you know, it wouldn't be the same without it. I was like, oh, you know what? We're just gonna do that because it's like a character. People were saying Box was the bomber.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We need, I think, you know, the community's voted and we have to agree. We need a box plushie.
yes.
Mhm.
I think.
Although
that's-
someone did suggest
that's
a
true.
refrigerator-sized boxed plushie, which they could then get inside, and it'd be soft and comfortable for them. I was
And
like,
dark.
that's actually a pretty genius idea, but that would be crazy expensive.
Yep. And maybe not the safest thing, like all the little legal disclaimers that would go along with that. would
Yeah.
be pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And we are just a shower curtain company, so
That is true.
Yeah,
We are a
that's
shower
right.
curtain
That's
company
right.
after all.
Shower curtains only, right? So,
Nice.
yep, that's me. Don't mind me. I'm gonna keep working, and I'm gonna mute myself so you don't hear a whole bunch of tearing and ripping and tape and all kinds of stuff. Okay? I don't want to
Cool.
distract everybody. But yeah,
All
if
right.
you guys need anything, just let me know. Or if you
All
want me
right.
to leave, you can tell me that too. I just figure I'd hang out till my phone dies.
Good. Wow. Nice. That's a good timer right there. All right. What about you, Joe?
Love you guys.
Saying the same name.
You just said Joe.
I know.
Oh,
It's
wait.
Joe. Joe, it's your turn again.
Yeah, Joe, go again. Nice, man. Hey. Hi guys, I am the other Joe, and Joe and I have a show on this channel, which is the Double Cup of Joe. Which, if you guys didn't know about that, it's a little confusing because there's two of us, and we're both Joe. Surprise!
right.
But yeah,
As I
welcome.
mentioned last night, Joe, this one that's speaking just now is helping me write the Criminal Idol series. And I think he's got like episode 13. Is that like scripted out pretty good?
Yeah,
You're working on it?
I think I've got 13 pretty, at least the first revision is done, and I've started
Nice.
14. So
Cool. Cool.
plugging away, we will get done speedy ish.
Yes. That's good to hear. And again, thank you all for coming tonight. I hope we all have a good time. We're going to be talking about clues, I guess. Is that what you guys want to hear? Is that what you guys want to talk about? It's Free for All Friday. I think the structure of the show is to just talk about whatever you guys want us to talk about, as a way to just have fun with you guys. But yeah, so I guess I don't know, where do you want to start? At the beginning? Let's never start. Start always at the end.
You want to jump around?
Yeah, you want to jump around? Really confusing. Hey guys, did you know that
We could make
episode
it as-
6
we
came
could make
after
it-
episode 5?
We could make it as confusing as the clues themselves if we jump around a lot.
Oh yeah, if we jump around enough. Yeah. When I was a very young kid, I was terrible at storytelling. My mom would ask me to tell a story, and I would put all of the events in a completely random order. And then my brother would have to come in and explain my story to my mom after I got done explaining it, because he was able to deduce what I was trying to say. Uh, so without him, I wouldn't be able to communicate with my mom when I was 9 or younger. I don't know. I might have been like 6. It was kind of funny though. So yeah, I guess there's there's a couple different ways we can do this. If you guys want to write in chat the different things the different stories you want me to cover with the series, that would be one way of doing it. The different questions you have, because I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. And there's not an answer to every question yet. I can't give it away, all of it. But Kyle is DD. No, he's bro man.
Yeah. I don't jump from 3-story windows very often.
Oh yeah, I had to do in the chat how the fact that Detective as his hobby and exercises, it does parkour.
Oh, yeah,
Well, Kyle
apparently.
does
Yeah, Kyle, you do parkour, right?
Man. Oh.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd be fine starting at the beginning. Says it was a night.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just do that then. Because Pork Chop says the same thing. So if they both agree, then they're gonna be in the right. I can tell. They're smart people. So let's see. We start episode 0 on this series. Episode 0 because it's kind of like a episode to explain the characters. There's not much going on, right? But there is some clues. There are some clues in this. There's actually a lot of clues because it helps define the characters and also their like intentions throughout the story, and how they got involved, right? And so without let's see. if you look at it, there's these red herrings, right? Like some people caught on to the fact that the character has red eyes, and Kanasaki has red eyes, and they're like, oh, it's Kanasaki. I love that. People noticed that, and it's funny because it wasn't even my intention, but I was like, yeah, that was totally, I did that on purpose. No, I just let it go. People went off on it, and I was like, sweet, this is great. So that was, one of those things that gave me the idea that, you know what, I'm just going to take the Kanasaki thing. A lot of people are assuming him. I'm going to make it look like him in the last episode. So that the last episode, we can kind of just do that flip flop where it's like the reveal actually happens. But yeah, so right now it's an interesting position, because Haruka is basically the bomber, is the one that, kind of brought the bomb into the place, right? And there are a lot of clues leading towards that. Of course, let's start with episode 0. Honestly, for her, there aren't a whole lot of clues for her specifically, except for one really big one, and that is her personality. Her personality is supposed to be cheerful and excitable and just, like really, really good, like, I don't know, a people person, right? But when you get into the when you actually get to see her as a character, she's the one that has to like struggle with trust, right? She's learning to trust again, right? As she wrote, she's kind of like in the later scene of A Reason for Suffering, she's the one looking down, like she's like, uh-oh, I don't want to talk about this, right? Because she's not showing herself to be what matches up with her personality at all throughout most of the season. There are snippets where she acts her personality, and there are many snippets where she doesn't. And that's perfect for the next episode, Detective. What does Detective do? He analyzes people, right? He knows her personality. He can see that there's a conflict between her normal, like, happiness, her happy personality versus her in constant state of distress and distrust and all of this, right? So she is super suspect, right? And if you go through the story, and I love one of the viewers that posted a comment about this. If you go through the story, looking at people's personality and how they line up, and how they're acting, rather than trying to figure out all the physical clues, you figure out the emotional clues. You figure out the clues that are happening inside the characters' heads and the way that they act. You find yourself leading down a path that keeps pointing towards Haruka, because obviously, because she's the one that's having this giant conflict of like, she hasn't told any of her friends, but she's still with them, and she's the one that, and she knows she's, you know, in this position where she brought the bomb in, right? So that's kind of like what the main clue of episode 0 is, that her personality doesn't line up with the rest of the season. So that's episode 0. Did anyone want to say on that? Anyone want to say anything on that? There's silence.
I was very impressed with the amount of theorizing that came out of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just the sheer number of clues people were seeing where there just was nothing was just amazing.
That amazed me too.
Like just totally unintentional on 90% of it. Like
right.
There were things that were intentionally in there, but for the most part, it was like footprints, the way that, but one person asked about some footprints. Can you talk about the footprints?
Yeah. Okay. So Rainey actually did all the art for this video, except for a couple of things. One, the criminal idol thing that appears at the very beginning of the video. That was, oh shoot, was that Swilk? It could have been Swilk. I can't remember exactly, and I'm sorry about that. And there are a couple of other things like the Starblush Girls like neon sign, but the main thing that was in there were the footprints. I did all the footprints, and that's why they're not very good. But I loved when people saw Aka-senseis. They were supposed to be apples, and everyone thought they were bombs. And I was like, wow, no. They're apples. They're not bombs, but I can see how an apple looks like a bomb. It has like a wick on it, right? And it's like round and totally. Except for, there's a difference in shape, but it's minor. But yeah, the footprints were a lot of fun because they helped kind of take you from one scene to the next. And there was another thing that is a clue in the footprints. There's a big clue in the footprints, but it's kind of something you might pick up on in hindsight. You see the footprints that are walking are black, and the black is for the bomber, right? But what do the footprints turn into when the black is taken away? When the detective catches them, right? You see the detective's feet walking up, and you see these black ones, and then all of a sudden, the black ones meet with the detectives, and they turn into the Starblush Girls' feet. And what's interesting too is the way they walk up. They kind of approach, and then as soon as they're like in view of detective, they kind of like start dancing, as if to like say, "Oh, I was just walking this way. I was just dancing. That's how I got this far." Like it was kind of like an awkward running into each other. But yeah, that's what? Yeah. Are you asking me where? What? Where? What?
No.
Okay. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And if you get the book, you can read more about that. But it's the black feet turn into the footprints of the Starblush Girls. So it's kind of like a lead in a way to show like, hey, here you go. It's one of these girls. But at the same time, I can get how that's also not necessarily obvious. But yeah. By the way, welcome everybody. How's it going? Everybody who's joined the chat. I hope you're having an awesome day. But yeah. Let's go to the next episode, right? So the next episode, I kind of just talked about it, but it's the detective, right? He's investigating this whole other scene, this whole other crime scene that has like what it seems like nothing to do with the story at all. It's the introduction of the detective. And I wrote this song first before anything else. So I had to find a way to incorporate this into the other story. So this is the setup for detective. This is where we learn that he really kind of he's a people person. He understands people. He deduces devious deeds by the destruction on the scene, but not always physical evidence, but also mental evidence and how people act and so on. So it's kind of like what we see there. But even in this scene, right, we get this hint of the hair clip, right? And it's said in such a way that it's thrown off. It's like the detective sees a rock and a hair clip. Those are the only two clues. And so in the song, he just throws it off like these are fake. They're not even part of the evidence, right? It's like it doesn't even matter. There's no reason to try to collect these as evidence. It's the police. They're the ones that broke in. Whatever. He already knows the answer. But what's interesting is that there's a hair clip. So why is there a hair clip? Well, my reasoning behind that is that I don't want to say too much here, but I will say that it's likely someone planted that there for the detective. Someone planted the hair clip there for the detective, knowing the detective is probably already on the whole case of the Starblush girls. Obviously, that's a big kind of almost spoiler, but we're gonna have to leave that to Criminal Idol season 2, right? It's Haruka's, right? It could be Haruka's or it could be Morime's, but either way, it's a big hair clip or a hair clip that's pointing in some direction, and it's like, why? Why would they try to create evidence in a case completely unrelated? Why would they have him in this controlled environment instead of just killing him outright? They have him as a passenger, as a hostage, and they let him loose at the scene of the crime, basically. Why do they put him through all of this, right? First, there's the original idea of like, well, they wanted the detective to come in and solve the scene with the cops there, so the cops wouldn't be suspect. But they needed him there at a certain time, after they've already cleaned it up, so that the cops wouldn't look like the bad guys, right? There's that idea. But even more so, if we're trying to relate it to the other criminal scene, the Criminal Idol bombing and stuff, there's a reason that they are egging him on to try to solve that case as well. And I think that's kind of a really big spoiler almost, but it's a really big play there, and it's a really big indicator that there's more going on than just what is visibly given to us. There's something going on behind the scenes. So Kyle, what are you holding up?
I don't know if y'all can read that,
Nah.
but if you can,
not really.
probably not. I wonder if we can get an order of songs for everybody. That's the chronology,
Oh,
because they kind of happen in a different order, and that's kind of confusing.
mm-hmm.
So we took the effort to put it in here. I wonder if there's a way we can get it, or maybe we can talk through it.
Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good idea. What's the chronology?
Sure. I'll just read it, and you'll have to remember it, or maybe we can kind of go through it. But so, episode 0, obviously that's an introduction. It's not chronology, right?
Right.
So the first thing that happens is episode 3, which is the idol bombing, right? That is the first chronological event. Okay. The second one is Stay Calm. So episode 11. So we go from like near the beginning, near the end. So it goes idol bombing, Stay Calm. And then we kind of go in a little bit better order. Then we go Detective, Life Might Take Us, No One's in This Alone, A Reason for Suffering, I'm Sorry, Dream On, Who's to Poor Man's Briefcase, Bad News, Your Eyes, and then The Chase.
Right. Yeah. So that is very interesting because it is obviously in any detective movie, almost you see them kind of go backwards to identify certain scenes or certain things that are happening. And to do that in an album is really weird, I guess, because it's without so much context. It's hard to relay all the information. And that's why there's a book. I hope you guys can get it because it's really good. And there's only a limited amount of them, but they're in our store, so feel free to check it out. Right now, you can get them at a lower cost, 20% off.
Yep.
If you type in the code launch party all in caps, just like that. But yeah, the book goes way in depth into a lot of the clues and helps explain them better than I can right here live. But yeah, episode. So the bombing happens first, and then Stay Calm, right? So Stay Calm is after, as Stay Calm does. Nori is in jail, right? So detective is already, talking to Nori. He's already on this case where Nori has, given these girls like, hey, I want you to know that like this whole thing is rigged and we can work together to solve it, right? That happens in episode that's kind of visited in episode which one is that? Sorry, I'm trying to remember real quick. That's in bad news. Thanks. In bad news, they're talking. He's talking to the girls and saying, "Hey, this whole thing is rigged. So why don't you join me and we can try to solve this." And then next thing you know, he's created this scene where now he's like, he's the bad guy, right? He kidnaps Haruka, and then kind of gets in this whole thing, which leads to their fame even more so, right? And so now they've got all this fame, they've got this backing. He ends up in jail, but he's talking to detective, right? So you have this dynamic where the detective knows, kind of like has some kind of relationship. It's not very deep, but some kind of relationship with a person that kidnaps Haruka and is getting information off of him for solving the case, as for Haruka being the bomber. So there's a very interesting dynamic there that I would encourage you guys to explore and think about, because that will help you get some ideas for season 2 and what kind of stuff is going on there. That's his idea of fame? Interesting. Yeah, but it also ends up giving him the alibi for the bombing, right? Because he's in jail, so he couldn't be the bomber. And that's, I guess, lucky on his part, because then he doesn't have to worry about, I guess, being a suspect, even though he's already in jail. He would have gotten thrown in jail anyways, I guess. But I guess it would have been for a lot more years. Putting up a bomb, I'm guessing. I don't know what's worse, kidnapping or exploding a bomb with a bunch of kids in it. I'm thinking a kidnapping is probably considered less time. Yeah, Nori is innocent, right? And that's cool. I think a lot of people were drawn to Nori because, well, Rainey worked hard on that character. She really wanted to make him attractive. Even though he's slightly older, he's a nice face to look at. He's a kind-hearted guy, right? Sort of thing. But he's also ends up being this crazy creeper. And that's important, I think, because, we're all capable of being on both sides of those coins. We're all capable of doing bad, but we're also all capable of doing good. And it's kind of like a juggling act what we have to do with ourselves. But yeah, Ava says, I think Nori wanted to be in prison. And that's a possible argument there. There's a chance, that he wanted to be in prison. Perhaps he knew it was going down. And I think that, yeah, anyways, I don't know. I think that's good there. I don't want to give away too many hints or too many clues, right? Because there's a whole other season. But pointing towards Haruka, in that, what kind of clues are pointing to her? Honestly, not a whole lot. In Stay Calm, you just see Haruka getting kidnapped, right? but you do kind of get to see that she's involved with something like really aggressive. Like she's kind of been through some rough times. It gives a reason to her being untrustworthy or untrusting and things like that. But in that way, it kind of spins you away from the accurate answer because it gives you, oh, this is why she's acting like this because of the kidnapping, right? But that while that is a part of it, there's obviously the bombing issue at hand as well. And holding all of that information off from her close friends, she can't share it, all that kind of stuff is a part of that. And you said, did Nori blackmail Haruka? And yeah, I guess in a way, right? He calls her parents, and tries to get. Basically, he sets this whole thing up. Haruka's parents are working for the same organization that Nori is working for, right? In this charity group. And so you can see at the end of the series, there's this threat like, oh, I brought the bomb in, and they said if I didn't, my parents would, and it kind of leaves it empty. And it's that idea of my parents were being threatened, or I was worried about my parents, that sort of thing. So they're obviously involved with something that's not a good place, not good to be in, right? And I think that if you just think about that for a moment, you'll probably come up with understanding, okay, they're involved with the mafia on accident, basically. And so when her parents are threatened, right, Nori is also threatening her parents. So it's kind of like a connection there. And Haruka kind of just gives in and listens, right? But she calls her cops on the one, right? And she's able to get Nori out of there under the cops, but and get herself free. And so her so she kind of escapes the episode, even though Nori planned from the beginning that it wouldn't go his way, because it's just a stunt, I guess, in a way, right? He's not looking for money from her parents. He knows how much money they make, right? He works with them. They, they're not going to be rich. They work for a charity organization. Charity organizations don't pay out a whole lot of money because most of the money goes to the charity. So there's no reason for him to try to get money out of them, right? It's just it's like a blackmail type thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Quick question, right?
Yeah.
Some people are asking, is this going to be available after the whole stream is done? Like, are we going to keep this up on the channel for a while, indefinitely, or?
Joe gives a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Indefinitely.
I guess so.
Okay.
Forever.
Forever.
Oh no. I gotta straighten up my attitude.
Yeah, you better straighten up then.
Dang. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying this. There's so much in these episodes, so much put into these episodes, and you'll see, like, I know I keep on advertising it a lot, but the book, if you read the book, you'll see all of the tiny ins and outs that, like, it takes a lot of work to come up with the detective story. That's why I had to mow it over with my brother for like hours before I decided, okay, this is the direction I want to go. Because it's like, man, but how does this fit here? How do we turn this whole direction, or how do we turn the direction from, going this way to go this way instead? Then who's the culprit, right? How do we get this person to do this type of action? Asking all these questions and trying to create up these scenarios that leads them in a specific way takes a lot of work. And then especially on top of that, making it a detective story where it's not like, oh, in your face with how it happened, but it's subtle, right? So that you can hopefully figure it out and try to like dig into it and find things. But also all of these false leads too. And then lastly, writing it all as music, it is so hard. It is so hard to try to get everything you want to say across in a song. Um, I I am really, really glad that season two, guys, this is I don't think I've said this in public yet, but season two is going to be really good. And here's the main reason. We're doing something called prepisodes. So prepisodes are basically episodes that are shorts that are not songs. They might have a little bit of background music to them, right? But it's going to be when like characters actually interacting with each other in conversation or in action, whatever, outside of the songs. So they prepare you for the song so that you can actually have dialogue between characters where they're like, no, I didn't want it to go this way. Well, it did, blah, blah, blah. Things actually happening between the characters that are outside of the work, because outside of the song, because the songs, you can't have conversations in songs like that unless it's a duet, but then it doesn't leave room for progression. Um, so there's so much that I'm limited to a song, and now this kind of takes care of the whole thing. So what we're doing is we're gonna have a prepisode and then a song, and then another prepisode and then a song. So it's gonna go back and forth between the two to tell the story in a lot cleaner way, in a lot more enjoyable way. And so that's why we'll eventually actually need voice actors and things like that. So it's gonna be a lot better. It's gonna be really cool. Yeah. Um, I'm more excited than I thought I could ever be. That's awesome, Hero. That's awesome to hear. But yeah, Joe, just I guess down and to the left of me. No, we're in a different order now. Okay, way over there. No, yeah,
That
wait,
way. Nope.
which way?
No, you're
way over there.
There
Way
you
over
go.
there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Jeez, this is so confusing. Yeah. He's working hard on that with me and for me mostly. So I have to jump in there more and see what he's got going. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, so I guess on to more clues, eh?
Ooh, clues.
More clues.
Unfortunately, Tef, I don't think it's going to be musical.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
disappointed now.
So,
What?
I wanted it to be a musical.
Yeah, sorry.
Like like a whole, like a
Yeah.
musical.
Yeah.
And now, this musical number.
Kind of. It's kind of like a musical. Because you have the talking and then the music and then the talking and then the music talking and then the talking and the music talking. It happens in musicals. It's kind of like that, but
You'll be pleasantly surprised then.
yeah, they're segmented, obviously. So musicals are never created in episodes. I think that's the major difference. I've never seen a musical that was episodic, but I guess if you want to call this a musical, then welcome to the one of the very first episodic musicals to ever be made. Yeah. Yeah, two Joes, it can be confusing. But that's why we have Double Cup of Joe to add more confusion to your morning brew. If you guys don't know about Double Cup of Joe or Don't Worry Wednesday, we do those shows on this channel and they're really phenomenal. A lot of people in this chat know of them. If you doubt they're good, ask the people here because they're fantastic. Don't Worry Wednesday, we get to talk to you guys about whatever problems you're going through in life, and we get to kind of share our experiences and hopefully help you through them. And then Double Cup of Joe. Joe, what do you guys do on Double Cup of Joe?
Me. I'll take it, Joe, unless you want to take it. But shipping department is working. Shipping department Joe is working, so Joe B will be there. So what we do is it's a pretty open show. What we do is we take a topic, any kind of positive topic, where we discuss it, and that's just kind of get your morning going off right. It's kind of this idea where we say, hey, people just kind of need a little bit of uplift here in 2020, and so we want to help provide that by goofing off, kind of recording, doing some streaming, answering some questions. It's a lot of fun. They are super, super fun. We have a lot of great laughs We might laugh more than you guys, but there will be laughing. So,
Oh, that's great.
but it's a lot of fun. We get to enjoy it. We get to chat with you guys and go over our topic, and especially for those of you who are out there like with a plan or a goal or some kind of project you want to work on. We're really kind of focused on that of encouraging you in ways that you can move forward in your life to get better, to keep advancing in whatever you're good at. So that's kind of what the Double Cup Joe show is this show where we can kind of bring some encouragement and help you to grow in what you want to do. And then who knows, you might end up, with one of us one day. So I think that's the really cool part about the Double Cup Joe show.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Trash Baby. First of all, thank you last night for all your generosity. Holy cow. What the heck? Thank you. Also, you said, so I'm going to ask what everyone is thinking. Will the box be arrested for its crimes? And the answer to that is no. Boxes are not legally obligated to follow the rules of any government. So luckily, it has eternal parting when it comes to those type of things. Pardoning, I mean. But yeah, the box is just free to do whatever crimes it wants. It's not okay, but it's okay.
You know something though? I got to give you a quick timeout there because there's actually something that you actually forgot.
That's what I forget.
So basically, boxes still have to abide by laws.
What?
Yes, believe it or not. They have to have, like specific weights and measurements, and these are things before they are allowed to go to other places. Usually, you might look up
I guess
like
they could be detained.
UPS and FedEx and those types of things. They'll tell you the rules and regulations.
So they have so you're saying they have laws on how obese or how skinny they're allowed to be.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Yeah, well, and then also,
Okay.
to further Jesse's point, I mean, if the box is carrying some substance that's not supposed to go into like a bomb into a,
There you go.
I mean, it could be confiscated and then
If
detained.
Yeah. So technically, that box is held liable for containing said things in that manner.
What happens if it happens to be carrying two children of the female gender in the semi well known in the industry of entertainment, like something like that? I don't know, just really vague. What happens then?
That's a little nuanced for this conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let me rephrase this. Are we allowed to shove idol girls into boxes?
No.
All right.
But you know who we can? Detective Flush.
That's right. We can shove detective plushes.
Oh, really?
Yes. These are facts.
Nice. Okay, so that seems equal. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you heard it first. Here, you're not allowed to shove idols into boxes, but you can detectives, as long as they are plushies.
But if you want a girl pair, life might take us have a pair of idol girls inside box.
Yeah, apparently that's illegal. No, we're not sure of the legal status of that. Is that the consensus? Or is that just a bad thing?
We have to consult legal.
Yeah, we do.
We have to consult legal? Okay.
Yeah.
The box, I guess, Trash Baby, the box may be, might have to go to court. We're going to find that out for you. Yes. Yeah, the boxes are well known for their devious nature. That is true, maybe. So, yeah. Thanks for the detour. Okay, so I guess on to the next. You want to do this chronologically? I guess that makes sense. Then we can talk about it in a way that makes sense in order. So, so obviously episode 0, then we go on to the I guess idle bombing, right? The idle bombing. What kind of clues are there? Of course, we have the obvious clue. The bomb is in one of the girls' bags that they bring in, right? It's in the Starblush girl's bag. We know that, right? And that's not just a clue. It's like how it is. You know, it's a pretty big clue, right? There's the match that lights up, right? It's they hear the sound of the match.
Mhm.
And that's like almost like why the girls aren't there, nobody's there, so who sets off the bomb? And that's why there's a season 2. Is it Haruka or is it somebody else who sets off the bomb, right? Haruka is as you see in episode, what is it, episode 11 or episode 10, sorry, Your Eyes, you can see there's a picture in there of when the place is kind of getting blown up. The smoke is rising out of the building, and they're outside. They're kind of pretty far away. They're like like half a block away or something. So basically, it probably gives you a clue that they're not the one that was there setting it off, unless they have a really high-powered remote. But the idea of someone lighting a match is one of those. I don't know what I call it, a mixed clue. It gives the idea that whoever's there is the one who did it, but in reality, there's obviously the one who did it wasn't there. And detective looked over it, right? And they said, hey, it was dynamite. Sorry, I mean TNT. What did I say? Yeah, no, dynamite, right? Dynamite. It was dynamite. Doesn't usually go off with, you don't usually set dynamite off with a flame. You don't set a match and hit a wick up with and let the flame explode the dynamite. Usually it's done with an electrical pulse, a charge. And so it can be done by remote, or it can be done by a long electrical cord, but it's usually almost never done with a flame. So
Certainly
if you
not a
did,
match, because
yeah,
you would
certainly not
lose
a
your
match.
whole arm in the
Yeah, if you'd
process.
used it with the match, right, you would be, if you, yeah, and with the closeness in the song, like, did you hear that? I thought I heard a match. Boom, like, oh man, that person, there's no way he could run far enough to save himself from something like that, right? But yeah, so it's one of those, it's like a false lead, but it is important to know, like, wait, so there's a match, and then you go, oh wait, so there was the sound of a match, but it's dynamite. So knowing that it's dynamite, it means that they weren't there next to it, right? So it just kind of leaves you going, oh well, then who was it, right? And that's fine. But then you have the detective who looks over. He looks over the cameras. No one's in the cameras putting the bomb down. So whoever put the bomb in the package, whoever put the bomb in their stuff, would have had to put it in there before they ever entered the show, before they ever got into the arena, right? So that gives you a hint as to, and maybe we can explore this again more in season 2. But it gives you the hint that the girl brought it in, right? I mean, there's no way around that. If it's not on camera being snuck in, then why is it in her bag? And so that's a pretty big clue there. But people were asking, well, what about the 2 that said that they heard a match? Are they in on it? And that's an interesting thought. Why would they give that alibi of hearing a match if there was no match? Well, the thing is, it's like an audio recording. It plays a sound. It's to give the illusion. So here's the thing. It's to give the dynamite explodes. Before that, it makes the sound of a match to give you the idea to somebody who's nearby that someone lit it and they were in the vicinity. So if someone wanted to trick others into thinking they were in the vicinity, why would they want to do that? Right? So that's an interesting thing to think about. Why would they go through the effort of trying to trick others into thinking they were in the vicinity? Right? So I guess maybe more on that later. But yeah. Who liked Idle Bombing, by the way? That was an interesting song when I put it out. Yeah. You guys liked Idle Bombing. Of course you guys liked Idle Bombing, right? I guess. Idle Bombing was a fun song. The rap part is pretty great. But yeah. The bridge is probably my favorite part of the song. It's great. So anyways, after the Idle Bombing, like you said, is come Stay Calm. Stay Calm, you have this group of sorry, you have Nori who kidnaps Haruka, right? I love how Rainy did this. It looks so awesome. It's super cute, super friendly. I tried hard to kind of create like a happy, calm voice. Aw, thanks, Mochijin. And then, you know, she's like being recruited to do like to help him with some auditions. It makes sense because that's kind of how they know each other, right? She kind of got scouted by him to do the show for the charity event. And so she's like, okay, yeah, sure. And then they end up driving off into an abandoned building, and she gets tied up, and all of that whole thing happens. What kind of clues are here? Like I said before, I kind of talked about it briefly. There's not a whole lot that points to Haruka, other than just that aspect of her being caught up in some kind of craziness. And that, you know, Nori, again, has contact with her parents, right? So I think those are important, but they don't really necessarily point to the end of the. They don't necessarily point to the reveal. After that, we get how do I order that? Did I say a reason for? No, actually, I would have said let my detective or life might take us. Detective, right? So that's what's next. Yeah, and detective I already covered because that was episode 1. So luckily I don't have to do that again. Life might take us. So life might take us is a fun one. You know, it was. You know, when I created the song, a lot of people I asked, "Hey, do you guys want more of the story?" And they wanted more of both detective and life might take us. So I was like, okay, now I got to create a story where there's idols and there's criminals. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. How do we do a detective show and a idol show and cram it together? Because that's never happened before. In kind of has there's an idol show I watched a long time ago, several years ago, where they're trying kind of to be detectives, but it's not the exact, you know, it's not the same, of course. It's not as heavy. It's just lighthearted stuff. But anyhow, life might take us. It doesn't really have a whole lot of clues to who to point to at all. It's just Cole and his journey into it. So I don't really think there's much there. I don't even know if in the book I wrote anything down for it as for clues. No, I don't think so.
Check.
Yeah, you could check if you want. But yeah. All right. Hey, thanks, Trash Baby. We will have a good night, and I hope you have a good night too. Is the abandoned building and Stay Calm on the same, or sorry, Calm the same on Clues to a Poor Man's Briefcase? Excellent question. A lot of people asked this question and they were like, oh my gosh, it's the abandoned building. They want it to be the same abandoned building. And I think that would have been brilliant, but it's not. The abandoned building in Stay Calm is said to have been in town. The abandoned building in Clues to a Poor Man's Briefcase is much outside of town. It's at Kanasaki's cabin, right? It's across the way, like through a little forest and whatever. It's pretty far out of town, right? So they are not the same abandoned buildings, or by any means. But yeah. Welcome to Forensic Files. Yes.
Well, now it's the shipping department that we're going to blame here for the bombing.
Oh,
You did it.
good job, Joe. Congratulations. Wow. It's a big move.
Quite the big move.
It was totally me. And the box was the accomplice.
Oh, it was? Dang it.
We knew it all along. It's fine.
I had it wrong. I had it
Yeah.
wrong. I'm sorry, guys.
You thought it was Hanukkah.
We got a confession out of him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Roshi, you said you just got here. You wanted to know if Haruka was if Nori kidnapped Haruka in order to prevent the bombing, and I don't think that is the case. It doesn't line up. Actually, the kidnapping, it does happen before the bombing, right? And it happens likely several months before the bombing. As you can see in Stay Calm, his hair has grown out a little bit more, right? He's been in there for a short while, enough to grow like an extra 2 or whatever inches on his hair and so on. So I would say no. The bombing happening much later, I don't think that the kidnapping was in any way associated with trying to stop her from doing a bombing. But that's a great question. It's a great idea as well. It's cool. Okay. Then we got No One's in This Alone. No One's in This Alone is, again, one of those episodes where you just got to watch Haruka's and how she's acting. This is more of her in her element, right? She's the one that pulls Cole out to say, hey, come join us, right? And the reason she does this is because she's trying to get over her issues, right? Because when you do something that leaves you, which makes you become an untrustworthy person, you start to have trust issues with everybody else, right? And the fact that she can't come clean and tell her friends, right? That makes her have trust issues. And she's trying to get over it. So she comes to him and she gives him this story like, hey, I'm learning how to, trust people, because I'm fighting for people in this world, and I'm fighting for you, and there's other people fighting for you. We're good people, and there's a lot of good people out there. And she's like trying to convince herself. And she brings that up to him. And so they have that kind of engagement where they're both struggling with this, but she's open about it. She's open about it, and that is a big clue because, again, that's her real personality interacting with her kind of like the side of her
Mask.
that's, yeah, her
Kind
mask.
of like her mask.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good word for it. Like her mask, and so while Cole's the main character in all of this, in this episode, it ends up really showing her as, again, having this issue, having this mask. I like how you put that. A world tour. Geez, I don't think that enough people in the world would care enough for that to go well. For me, I would definitely be paying way more than I think I would make, but it could be a possibility in the future. It would be cool. It would be really cool. Yeah. So
Why is Ryan so good at talking?
I
Yeah.
talk. Why is Ryan so good at talking? Okay, so when I was let me remember this. When I was like 0, people around me were saying things like I didn't even understand it, but like that rubbed off on me in like a good way. So eventually my mind started picking up on these words, and I started to learn how to like speak what they call English. I just did it for a while and eventually I became good. If you guys talk a lot, you guys will be good at talking too. Yep.
That's possible.
Yeah. Well, I actually maybe I'm terrible at talking because it takes me forever to get my point across sometimes. We do this show again. We mentioned earlier we do Don't Worry Wednesday, and it's awesome. But I can ramble off on like a topic for like 15 minutes straight, saying kind of like the same thing in different ways. Sometimes that happens, but it's great. And the reason I do it is because I like to do like a full circle. Like, this is why I said this. These are the mechanics of like why I said this. And then in the end, all I had to do was say it. Like, so I do that. Okay, moving on. Let's do the next one. a
See you later,
reason.
Joe.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. He just recently moved, so he's got a lot going on.
I thought you guys were kicking me out.
Yeah. Bye. Yeah. Goodbye. Oh my
I
gosh.
was like, wait a second, my phone's not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's boring for you guys to watch me stand here.
No, you're the entertaining part.
You are, yeah.
You're the
Oh.
entertaining part. I'm watching you, man.
Mhm.
Because all of us are.
We
Just stand here
want
watching
to watch you get these orders going out.
Well,
Yeah.
all this stuff is going to you guys. So, like, if you want to keep me busy doing this, you guys need to go to the store at bss.studio, order some stuff. It's all going to come from right back here. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm printing off stuff. I need to know. I sent Kyle a text message because I need to know if the shipping charge is going to be taxable in Denmark. Crazy fun
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
Oh, there's your answer.
There's your
Yes.
answer.
So I
Yeah,
need
if
to
you
put
guys want to
that-
see something entertaining, just go buy a bunch of stuff from bss.studio. And
Yeah.
then he'll go wild over there.
Wow.
Like, well,
He'll
I
go
mean,
crazy
I'm
wild.
still,
He'll start throwing stuff.
I'm still working on the orders from like a couple nights ago. Like a couple nights ago. It wasn't even open. Last night, I'm working
Oh.
on the stuff that came in before midnight.
Do I have to drive over there soon? We've got some books I need to sign or whatever, right?
You do. I've got 2 so far.
Okay.
2 that need to be signed. So.
Cool. All right.
But yeah, so you're gonna get together with me soon. Oh, by
Yeah.
the way, I don't know if you guys want to see this. Here's part of my studio.
Hey, look
Look
at
at
that.
those
There we go.
beautiful. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a fun time.
I would ask you to play them, but it's quite late, huh?
I'm the only one here, so I can.
Oh, you're the only one there?
I can
Why don't
rock
you-
out and
Why
not.
don't you
wake
rock
anybody
out
up.
for?
Rock out for a second. Do it.
Play It's Not Like I Like You. Play It's Not Like I Like You, and then Freebird. Play Freebird first, and then It's Not Like I Like You. Wait,
That's
you know that
great.
one?
Man.
Oh, geez. Ah, man.
It would not sound good on the phone. Like, it doesn't even sound good through those microphones until you dress it up, you know.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
On the phone, it'd just be like, you guys are gonna hate it.
Yeah. Hey, will I sign any other books? I think the answer to that is, at the moment, a no. There might be a chance for that in the future, but I don't plan on signing any more books. When I sign something, I kind of want it to mean something, right? The first signature I ever got asked to make or ever write, I was like, I'll give you my signature only if you give me your signature. And it was just some random person. And that's because I don't want my signature to just be, a name on a page. I want it to be personal. I want it to mean something. I want to have an experience with somebody. That way it's, it's not just a name. The thing is, my signature is not, I don't know. My value as a human being is not any more than anybody else's. And to have my signature honorified on what? That's not a word.
Like,
Honorific.
Honored.
Yeah, something.
Whatever.
Yeah.
To have my signature
wow, look at that.
be glorified or honored beyond anybody else's, for me, is just okay, I get it, but at the same time, I don't think that's it's not accurate in the true value of things, right? Because in the true value of things, my value is exactly equal to your guys. So for me to just sign stuff and get more money out of it, I feel sure I get the idea, but at the same time, it gives the wrong message, because the message is that the only reason I'm giving you a signature is because I got this personal experience with you, and I think that is far more important, to me at least. Maybe not to others. Maybe people will completely disagree with me, but that's the way I feel. So, anyways, that's why I will not likely be signing any more books at the moment. But I will sign stuff in the future. Oh, you hate it? It's Not Like I Like You. Oh, wait.
Wait, who said that?
Oh, okay. You said heated. I hated that. It's not like it like you happened in the Criminal Idol universe. Okay, now I get it. Yeah, you know, it was kind of funny. Rainey created these little. So, in what episode is that? That's the next episode we have to talk about. A Reason for Suffering. A Reason for Suffering has. You can see the members that left, and they're all just the "It's Not Like I Like You" girls, which is just a fun Easter egg, right? But originally it was like 4 other characters from like mainstream anime. And then I was like, I don't think we can do that because it's not a parody of their character, like a specific parody. And it's also not like there were just basically legal issues and I wasn't sure of them. So asked her not to do it. So instead we just replaced them with It's Not Like I Like You characters. There is the possibility, right, that they all live in the same universe because why not? You do have the Detective cereal, which is
Yeah.
in Sugar Pop Sunshine. That's so funny. Like, how does Detective have his own cereal? What detective gets his own cereal? How are you that famous? You know, like what? That's hilarious. But but it's great. But A Reason for Suffering, again, one of the first clues is right at the beginning when Haruka or Aoki begins talking. And Haruka's response is like a it's like she's just like, uh-oh, right? She's like, uh-oh, I don't want them talking about this. But it's almost comes off as a, uh-oh, here she goes again. Like she's, you know, she's about to ramble off some crazy stuff because she gets crazy passionate, you know? And it's kind of like both. And it was surprising to me how many people like watched that video and nobody said anything about the uh-oh. I was like, really? That's crazy. That means I did my job well. I threw in a clue that no one would find somehow within the song lyrics. But yeah, Haruka says, uh-oh, when she begins telling the story, because, you know, when you're telling a story to the detective, he's going to be able to pick up on the nuances and figure out, okay, there's something missing here, right? And so she doesn't want him to hear it because she's worried, you know?
You got to be pretty good at making up a story.
Yeah. Yeah. She doesn't want him, which is the advantageous part for her. She doesn't have to say anything. She lets Aoki do all of the talking, so she doesn't even have to lie or anything. She can just go along with whatever Aoki says. But yeah, yeah, that was definitely Aoki's song. I would say so. She's pretty passionate character. So I think that's like one of the, obviously there's other things in there. They talk about the bombing and stuff like that, but that's one of the big clues that I think a lot of people missed, which, you know, just right in everybody's face. I loved that one. You said I interpreted uh-oh as just being uncomfortable with the topic. Yeah, absolutely. That too, right? You would be uncomfortable with the topic. Anyone would be. You know, you're getting blamed for bombing, right? No one wants to talk about it, you know? Like, because to all of them, they're innocent except for Haruka. And that makes it really tough. So yeah, that's actually a good interpretation as well. I can totally see that. Yeah. I think science, you're awesome. So I guess next we can talk about I'm Sorry. You know, I'm Sorry was the episode that I created before A Reason for Suffering. And I'm Sorry is just them at the cabin, you know? They get introduced to the girls who give them their alibi. So now we get to know their alibi, right? Their alibi is they weren't even near it, right? They weren't even near the package when it blew up. So it kind of points away from the girls, right? But then again, it also points towards the girls. Why? Because if you know something's going to explode, you're getting far away from it, right? So while it's an alibi, it's also like, yeah, but wouldn't you get away from a bomb if you're going to explode? If you knew it was going to explode too? Like, wouldn't Haruka try to lead her friends out of the building if it was her? You know, if she was worried about it, you know. So it's kind of like one of those things where, yeah, it could lead in any direction, and it is still actually a semi decent and accurate alibi, because again, she's the one that brought the bomb in, but who's to say she's the one that made it explode, right? She's not the one who made the bomb. She's not in control of that. She's an accomplice, right? An accessory or whatever the correct term is for it. But I think that's the main clue there in that episode. And then following that up is, Dream On. Dream On was a fun episode. I really liked that one. That one kind of stood its own. I think that Dream On's a fun song. And it's just really pretty. It was cool to do the girl voice. I think a lot of people are wondering, hey, who did the girl voice? And it was just, I don't know, it was funny to me because I did a decent job. It does sound a little weird, but I did a decent job. It was fun. But yeah, Dream On. Again, I don't know. There's a couple of things going on there, but you can see the detective. He's like, he gets asked this question. Who's the bomber? Or sorry, not who's the bomber, but hey, do you really believe that these girls are the bombers? Aren't they innocent? Like, why are you following them around? Cool is asking, right? And the detective's response is just, don't worry about it. It's I'm on your guys' side, and it's like, it's one of those things like, well, that's a weird answer. And I think a lot of people notice that, like, why wouldn't you just be straight? Instead, you're saying, oh, they could be guilty, which from a detective's point of view, as a normal detective, everyone that is suspect, so you don't rule anybody out. So that would be the thing you would say, right? You would say like, well, here's the thing. I'm here for justice. I'm here to help you guys. But that doesn't mean you guys didn't do it. And it doesn't mean I'm completely sure you guys didn't do it. So I'm not going to answer that question, right? But the thing is, detective already knows it's Haruka. So his response to that question is just, hey, I'm on your side. I'm fighting for you guys. And you can see that even at the end of it all, he doesn't just outright arrest Haruka. You see at the end scene of the chase, they're shaking hands, right? They're trying to form, detective knows there's more to the story. And so they're shaking hands, kind of like, hey, let's team up. Let's get this thing figured out together. Kind of like she might be his lead, type of thing. So that's a kind of a decent hint, it could be anything, right? Of course, as the writer, I wouldn't say the detective would go, oh yeah, no, I know it's not you guys, right? Because then that would be silly, right? Of course, but it is still a clue. It is still a clue saying, hey, I'm fighting for you guys, and that's all I'll say on it. But yeah.
Here's a good question. From what
Mhm.
point did he know that it was Haruka?
Oh, when did he know that it was Haruka? That's a good question. And it's hard to say exactly. It's likely I won't say indefinitely canon, but it is very likely that he had all of it figured out even before he walked into the club room the very first time. But it's also likely that he figured it out soon after he walked into the club room the first time. But it's probably one of those two. He's the answer to that is he's known it was Haruka for a very long time in this whole scenario. But he needed her to confess so that he could be on her good side so that the rest of the series can continue in the manner that it needs to, if that makes sense to you guys. Because if you watch over the story and what detective is doing, everything he's doing is to get on their good side. It's not to deduce or find out who's guilty. If you watch the detective's actions and his motions and what he does and how he interacts with them, you notice the detective doesn't seem to be solving a case. He seems to be trying to make friends. And that's because that's exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to get on the good side of these girls, not trying to solve a case. And that is, part of his personality. That is likely how he would solve a case because he wants to get the information out of everybody to solve it. But for the detective, he knows there's a much bigger battle ahead of him. So that's why he, invited them out to the cabin. That's why he asked Kanasaki for the cabin keys to invite them out to the cabin so he could get a chance to get to know the girls and get to know Cole as well, so that he could form a trust with these young characters. But yeah, that's a great question.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
This one isn't related, but it is related to Kickstarter stuff.
Mm.
They're looking for some updates on the other two stretch goals.
Oh, fantastic. So, as far as It's Not Like I Like You #2, the second song in the series, the music has been mostly finished, but I'm waiting on Amory to help me out with the lyrics. And I have to get with her on that. On the Japanese version of It's Not Like I Like You, the Japanese lyrics have been written, but I'm waiting on Amory to sing her parts and my parts because I've been spending too much time away from Japanese to just go out and sing a song and get all of the enunciations and especially the I guess just how you would say something, the expressions.
phenomes.
Yeah, sure. Correct. I wanted her to do it first, so I'd be like, okay, thank you. That way I know what's accurate and what's not. Because, like I said, spent way too long away from Japanese to be able to just come in and be like, oh yeah, this would be said this way. I don't remember anymore. Not even close. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're waiting on right now. So, unfortunately, it's kind of waiting on Amory, and I need to get with her so we can get that ball rolling again. But you know, COVID hit and all of that kind of stuff. That was really distracting, and that pulled her away, I guess, from a lot of what she could do. So, hopefully, we can get that ball rolling again. But thanks for the question. Yeah.
Back to I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Were both groups being present an actual accident or a planned circumstance?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm trying to remember right now. I think I could be wrong. I would consult the book on this. I think I wrote it into the book. Um, it could really lean either way, and it would be fine. But I believe Kanasaki's reaction was legitimate
Okay.
in that he was honestly he honestly was forgetful, and his like, oh geez, oh, I forgot about that. I'm so sorry. His sorry was real, not just something fake to lure the girls into a certain scenario or a trap. I'm pretty sure the answer there was that it was honest. Because I had no intention of making Kanasaki or the detective necessarily manipulative by lying to their, to their students slash characters that are trying to protect and things like that, right? So there you have it.
Oh, that's a good one from Pork Chop.
What's that?
Near the end of I'm sorry, why did Detective appear for just a few seconds without dialogue and then disappear?
Let me see here. I'm gonna watch that real quick so that I get a better idea. Oh, okay, that's easy. Because he had to sing the line.
No.
That's it.
Oh,
He had to sing the line, so he had to reappear to say it.
Okay.
That's it. Very simple. I was like, oh yeah, no one's saying this line. Here. There he is saying it. Go on.
See ya.
Yeah, get back out of there, detective. You said what you needed. Get out of here. Yeah, that's funny. So that puts us where? I guess pretty close to the end here. We're on clues to poor man's briefcase. Clues to poor man's briefcase is a huge one. One of probably the biggest clues in the entire story is in this one. And it's funny because this one is so abstract. Like it looks like it has nothing to do with anything. You know, you're hearing a story about some other people and you're watching this interaction that has nothing to do with the bombing. And your visuals and your audibles aren't even together really, other than the fact that he's reading some clues he's reading the story out loud, and they're finding clues from in that to solve the riddle of what's in the briefcase. This is an excellent. I don't know. There's some really interesting clues in here. The main one is if you watch Haruka and Morime, right? There's something going on there. Like, what is going on there? And as we talked last night, Morime has been a fan of Starbucks Girls for a long time, but also their parents both work for the same organization. They both work for the charity group. So Morime knows Haruka, but why does Haruka feel so down? Why does when you look at Haruka, she's always worried? You can see this interaction where Haruka is listening to what the detective is reading, and it mentions the mafia. And then in that, it's like when the mafia is mentioned, she's kind of like, oh, and she just has this natural reaction about her of worriness because she's had to deal with them. And so then Morime looks over at Haruka and understands what Haruka is going through. That's important, right? And so watching her, she's like, oh my gosh, I relate to this person, right? They relate to each other. So Morime is really happy about Haruka's situation because Morime finally has someone to relate to because her parents have been in it for a long time. Haruka is just down and out because, well, she's been involved in the bombing, right? And all of this kind of stuff has happened to her. And so she doesn't feel like she's relating to anybody. She doesn't have a reason to be happy. She's just like getting like flashbacks, if you will, right? So that's a super important clue. And the other clue is the aspect of the song talks about the mafia. I think it's like, hey, this is in the same world they live in. So it would be weird if like, okay, it wouldn't be weird, but it would be easy to draw the conclusion that like, oh, there used to be a mafia and now, oh yeah, there's probably still a mafia. So what if they're involved? So that's the big clue there, that the mafia is part of this the daily life, I guess, of Haruka that she's living. And that's why, you know, at the end, at the very end of the season, you have her saying, you know, they threatened my parents. Who are they? Who's they threatened my parents, right? And that kind of gives you the big clue as to who that is. But yeah, it's not necessarily a clue that completely points out Haruka, other than her conflicting personality with how she's supposed to be in this environment, right? This would be normally an exciting environment for her. Instead, she's acting a little bit weird. And it looks like she's acting weird, but also trying to hide it. You know, she's not being actively weird. She's just kind of keeping to herself in that moment when he's reading the letter. She opens up again, right? Later in the episode, and she acts more herself. And it's like, okay, so why, again, are these personalities? Why does she seem like two different people? And it's because, she's one person conflicting with herself because of the bombing and all of that kind of stuff going on in her life. But yeah, are we good for the next one?
Well, there was an interesting backstory question I saw. What is the deal with this random building with clues that just so happens to be near Kanasaki's cabin?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's up with that, guys? That seems weird.
Yeah, it is super weird.
Yeah, that's super weird. All right. So the next episode. Guys, you want to know the truth?
Mm-hmm.
was writing out the episode, and Rainey was like, Ryan, why are you thinking so hard about this? It's an anime. People don't care. Just make something weird up. Here's the scenario. They go find an abandoned theme park. And I'm like, okay, Rainey, yeah, you're right. All right. Abandoned theme park, that's what happens. And I'm stuck with having that as the actual thing. And now I have to figure out, how does that work into the story? Who's why?
In a nutshell, thank you, Senna.
Yeah. There we go. So now there's that, and I get the task of making that work, which is funny, which is fun and funny, and that's kind of how a lot of the series went for me. Not entirely, but there were, certain things that happened, like right off in the beginning of the story, and never planned it to be this big of a story. So then I had to take those and like, how does that make sense? How does that work? And I, like I said before, I had to spend many hours with my brother just talking about it, trying to figure out how do we make this work. But yeah. So that's funny. Your eyes. Wait,
Actually, before
bad
you get
news.
into that, Ryan,
Yeah.
before you do, with the clues to the poor man's briefcase, based on greater society, I thought two things: the trend of the actual business of those panic room or lock rooms where they go in and they have an hour to solve
Oh,
something
yeah,
to
yeah,
get out.
yeah.
I was seeing that, and then I was also seeing like the video game craze of a different form of anime. You were touching on things that were very popular there in early 2018. Trends.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. It was, yeah. That video took me like a month or more, maybe even 2 months. I can't even remember to make. It was hard.
It's a long time. I remember when you finished the song, and then I kept asking you. It felt like I was bugging you about it because I was like, "Seriously, you're still working on that video? What are you
Yeah,
doing?"
yeah. I think it was like 2 months.
Frame by frame.
Yeah, frame by frame animation to make that happen. It was nuts. Um, Yeah, but it did kind of look like a video game, right? It looked a lot like a video game. Would it
Yeah,
be
well,
platforming or
getting
whatever?
the shears out to get
Yeah,
past
Yeah.
things or
yeah, that was great.
get past spiders or having to get past other things, and yeah. So
Yeah, I remember planning that out with Rainey, and we just had a fun time talking about like, okay, how do these characters interact? How do these characters interact with this, with each other and the environment that they are in? How do they solve it? How do they go through, stuff, that fun stuff like that? And and then I took liberties. I love Furuto going and diving into the bush, um, getting stuck. It was great, but that was a lot of fun,
yeah,
even though it took me like way too long to make it.
right. Okay.
And in my point of view, it like is the video that took the longest, and it's not even the best necessarily. I feel like the best one is either is Stay Calm or Bad News, which Rainey made both of those, and they're so good. But yeah, Bad News. That's next. So Bad News again. I think we already covered this because of the order, but um, actually, yeah, didn't we? No. Bad News is when the rigging happens, right? And so this happens way before the bombing. Um, the whole rigging, the whole rigged event, and Spider's best girl. Yeah, you know it. The um, the rigged session. Let me think here. So the clues in here that point to Haruka, not really many. Of course, other than this is when she gets introduced to Nori. This is when that whole thing happens. So you get to see that she's involved, right? She's involved with this guy, who does crazy things, like kidnaps her later. But she's involved with this guy. She's involved with this organization, but we don't really see how until episode 10, which is the next episode. But um, one thing that's interesting is a lot of people were like, "Oh, why did they go to Haruka alone to give these information?" And the original plan was actually that he doesn't just go to Haruka to show that, hey, the whole thing is rigged. He goes to the entire group. So the whole group knows that it's rigged. It just so happens that with the art, we only showed Haruka receiving it, as opposed to the whole group. So there's that. But episode 11, I mean 10. No, 11. Okay, it's 10 because we start with episode 0. That's so confusing, but it's great. Episode 0. So episode 10 is Your Eyes. That one. I guess any questions on Bad News? Any questions about how things went? Any like, hey, this was confusing. Why did this happen? If anyone has some questions, that'd be awesome. But if not, I'll move on to Your Eyes because your eyes are beautiful.
I do like that Box reappears there in Bad News.
Oh, Butterfly Nessa. Okay. Would she not have met Nori when she was younger because of her parents? Fantastic question. The story goes, this is her first time meeting Nori because her parents weren't involved with the charity organization yet. The charity organization basically is her parents' first time ever experiencing it as well. This rig or the gig, the gig that made them famous. This event is when her parents first find out about it and they get involved from here. So this is a big event in her life because her parents are now getting involved. And I originally wanted to throw that into the song. And this is one of those cases where it's like, this happened throughout the whole story. But there are so many cases, and especially this one, where it's like, I want to show that the parents get involved and become, they get an opportunity for a job here and they start working here. I want that to be a thing here in the story, but I couldn't find a way to sing about that. I couldn't find a way to put that in the video, and without spending too much time on the video, and taxing Rainy even more. And so it just had to get left out. But the canon is that this is the first time the parents ever even learned about the charity organization, and they get offered a job here at this time. And then they take up that opportunity and they find themselves caught in a pretty bad place. But yeah.
Which is sort of reminiscent of the note.
Right.
Where there was sort of an accidental involvement which turned into something, much larger for the family that was involved.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfectly said. When in the note it says, did you know that day that you'd get, I can't remember the lyrics exactly, but that you'd end up getting involved with the mafia. Did you know when they offered you a job that day that your life would then basically be owned by the mafia? That's kind of how the lyrics go. And yeah, that's basically almost like play for play, like exactly what happens to her parents. Her parents aren't necessarily poor, but yeah, that's a good line you draw there. All right. So in Your Eyes obviously is solely pointed at Haruka. I mean, clues don't even need to be said. I kind of mentioned a lot of them about Your Eyes. Your Eyes kind of is it shells out so much of what's, the past is, whether it be between Morime and Haruka, or just Haruka by herself, Haruka and the bomb, and it's all focused on Haruka. So that's an obvious, oh, why is he looking into Haruka so much? This is also kind of interesting too. This is the detective. This is the detective's. These are his files, right? He's looking over them. If you look back at Dream On, there's a case. There's a case on the far right side of the screen. It's a suitcase or a briefcase. If you look at the briefcase, it has some numbers and letters on it. And if you decode it, and basically all you have to do is turn the numbers into letters and reorder them, and it's leet speak mostly. except for the 2A. 2A represents there's two A's in it. Anyways, if you take it and you decode it, the briefcase says Haruka on it. So it's like, okay, Detective has been already carrying around a briefcase that says Haruka on it. And what was cool is there was a side, a Discord channel that was kind of dedicated to going through these clues. They did all sorts of crazy stuff and found like websites that were called like haruka.com. Anyways, they were going super hard on this. They eventually, through my help, but they eventually found and figured out that it was Haruka. And then once they figured it out, they were like, okay, what does that mean? Well, it's the detective's case, or maybe it's Kanasaki's briefcase. But either way, if it's one of their cases, why would they have, it's in detective's room, so why would they have a briefcase on Haruka, right? This is basically what's in the briefcase. It's episode 11. It's all like a bunch of pictures and news articles around Haruka. Yep, A2312HK. The 12 is an R. But yeah, the HARA. Or sorry, EKA. So yeah, you can you guys can go back to the episode and see if you can see anything there. Does Nori's inmate number mean anything? That's a fantastic question. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. There's nothing in that number. But it's funny because people will look into anything. You throw in any kind of number on anything, they're like, oh, that's a clue, isn't it? No, not this time. It's just I guess it's just a pretty thing to look at. But yeah, that's what the case was for. I always wanted to know. Yeah, totally. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, they also found the website sold rings, and that was crazy because Haruka.com sold rings, and that's what Clues to a Poor Man's Briefcase was about the rings. I was like dumbfounded. I was like, guys, you've dug so far into this that you've made something look right when it is absolutely in the wrong, like not even close.
Dug so deep.
You dug so deep, you found your own clues to things that didn't even match up to it. Like, it had nothing to do with anything. It was fantastic. The colors
awesome.
of the donuts, yes, also don't mean anything. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, right. It would be cool if we could make ring merchandise and do something there. That would be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that. All right, Mochi, didn't have a wonderful night. Sleep well, 45 hours.
45
Dang.
hours.
I haven't done that in a while. Good luck. Sleep tight. Whenever I stay awake that long, I go to sleep and I wake up in 2 hours and I'm feeling like totally awake. Like, yeah, let's go. And then I look at the clock and I'm like, no, I need to sleep. And then if I go back to sleep and I wake up, I feel dead. So good luck. Have a good night. Yeah. All right. On to the next episode. Yeah, the rings unity of symbols of unity, friendship, and shared lives. And I think that would be really cool to have everybody who wants a ring to have a ring. That'd be super cool. But we'll see. We'll see about that. The pink donut is suspicious. Sure is. Okay, so in episode 11 or 12, 11, 11/12, you are depending on your number system. Stay calm. Stay calm. I think we already covered this one, so I don't even have to cover it. Stay calm's done. The chase, the last episode, guys. We're at the finish line here, and I'm sorry you had to listen to me talk for so long. Jeff, could you say something real quick?
I'm good. I'm ready for the chase.
I wanted someone else to talk because, Jeff, you have a beautiful voice. You've got a voice for radio.
Well, thank you. There is. I still haven't pinpointed it because I'm going through the Rolodex of the music brain,
Mm-hmm.
but I pick up a lot of influence outside of straight up swing that the chase hits on.
Yeah.
That I don't think if this song was made in 2015 or 2016 that it would have come out the same. And I think that it shows the growth in the music over the last 5 years. And it touches and it stays contemporary to how music is these days.
Yeah,
And I
that's
definitely,
interesting.
I noticed that last night, and I'm still trying to like lay my finger on that artist that it makes me feel like
Hmm.
that I've heard before, but it'll come to me at some point.
All good. Yeah. I remember I wrote that song basically around the same time as I wrote I'm Sorry, before it actually. Um, and it didn't come out until now, right? But during that
Well,
time, there was this huge period of time. So when I got to the piece again, I rewrote entire sections of the song. Um, I changed a lot.
yeah.
Were you gonna
Yeah,
say
because
something?
it's not Rag and Bone Man, but it's somebody similar to Rag and Bone Man to me.
Rag and Bone Man. Huh. I never heard of it.
The Human song from back in 2016. You'll have
Oh,
to
I
look.
don't know it.
look. Okay, yeah, I'll send you a link.
Okay. I'm sure someone knows it.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, I remember, I mean, from the point where we decided, or you decided, that we were gonna make this a big series, we talked about the execution of this one because it was gonna be really hard. And I just remember going back and forth on different ideas of how we could possibly pull this off. Because in a lot of the ideas that we had, we ended up scrapping.
Yeah.
Because you were so concerned about the integrity of the characters. You
Yeah.
didn't want to shoehorn them into a position that just wasn't realistic to their personalities, and you didn't want to make them, manipulative, or there was a lot of different ideas, and then I mean, we talked about this one episode probably longer than anything else
Yeah.
in there, and I mean, we spent a 14-hour car ride trying to figure this episode out.
That's right. That's
I
right.
mean,
Yeah, I was really
like
held up on
drove
it.
across the country. You know, we passed through probably 6, 7 states talking about this, trying to figure it out. I mean, what you finally came up with. I mean, it was really cool.
Hmm. I
So
think what I ended up doing was a lot based on, I think, probably our original idea for it, something you likely came up with. Um, and yeah, I think it turned out, I'm glad how the way it turned out. And yeah, it was a big conflict. I didn't want to make Detective and Kanasaki become basically these really manipulative characters. Um, but at the same time, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, right? To some degree, right? There is manipulation that is bad, but in this case, they don't upright lie to her at all, or anything like that. So it's a play, if you will, but it's all to get the best end in a way, but it's not harmful, and I think that that's important, for the integrity of the characters, right? Um, but yeah, someone said, oh, did Kanasaki um, know about the bombing, right? Because Kanasaki invites Detective to the bombing, and the answer is no. He didn't know that there was going to be a bombing. But I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Yeah,
then
I
don't
can say this.
then say it and then don't say it.
I'll say it and then I won't say it, guys. I'll say it now and I won't ever say it again. Um, Kanasaki. Yeah, it's not a clue. It's not a clue in the series, so I probably shouldn't say much. Um,
Maybe you've said enough already.
Yep, that's
yeah,
it.
I've said enough already. Yeah, I'll just
They
end with
they they
that.
can they can search Kanasaki's history.
Yeah,
Yes, they'll do like Google search for Kanasaki history.
yeah,
They'll go to
Kanasaki history.
He has a whole
Okay.
backstory because actually the cool thing about that character is he was designed by somebody else entirely, and he
Mhm.
has a whole you know, he's he's got his own whole story. So
Yeah. Yep. That's true. Well, there you go.
so there you have it.
I won't say any more, but it's a good question. And the quick answer is no, he didn't know that there was going to be a bombing. How long was the teacher involved with the incident? Well, since the bombing, very likely, right? When that thing goes off, something's going down. The detective and him are already obviously friends, and or at least acquaintances. And so the detective has likely no reason to hide any of the information he finds out. So it's very likely and understandable that Kanasaki knows the situation and everything that's going on as well throughout the whole series. Even though he might have accidentally brought the meteor group in on and being forgetful, but yeah, he's innocent. Yeah. So in the chase, you don't really need any clues here. There's not really many clues to talk about, other than I guess what's already been stated. I think after you watch the chase and you see the reveal of it's Haruka, she brought the bomb in, and then there's that big open window. It asks and begs for more. Like, okay, you brought the bomb in, but you're not getting arrested. So what's going on here, right? And then that causes you to have to look back over the entire story, and search for clues of where you think the story is going to head from here. Why is the detective not arresting her? So who is the culprit? More so, right? And we kind of talked about that, right? Being episode for the Clues to a Poor Man's Briefcase, right? It mentions the mafia, so I'm not gonna hide that. And I already talked about it, so
And there's
you can
quite a
see
few. There's quite a lot of shenanigans going on, right?
there's more to it than just it's the mafia, so that's why he doesn't arrest her. Well, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of shenanigans, and there's a reason he can't just go to the mafia and go, oh, you guys are under arrest, right? There's that takes a lot of finesse, and so that's why there's a season 2, and I hope that it is
Well,
enjoyable.
and it's not entirely clear at this point either, with the data that we have, whether or not the mafia is even cooperating within itself properly.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've got previous battles that they talked about in Poor Man's Briefcase between maybe rival factions. We've got a mafia-sponsored event basically getting bombed by maybe the mafia. Why would that
Right.
be? So there's
Right.
there's definitely a lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely. With it being rigged, it's the idea is, it is sponsored by the mafia. The whole event is sponsored by the mafia. Then why is it getting bombed by the mafia? Yeah, and there's a lot going on there for sure. Even when you said, in Clues to a Poor Man's Briefcase, you have mafias at each other, right? Gangs and mafias that are fighting each other. Even you have members of the mafia, like the member who got hired in the story, right? He defects. He's like, I don't want to be a part of this, and he leads his child out of it. Through the flashing of the ring and trying to show like, hey, we're going off to war, and he keeps on guiding him to follow and from a distance. And then as soon as it clears up, as soon as they have a chance, they get out of there, right? And so you have multiple signs of there's something going on beyond just one side versus the other. It's pretty convoluted, so it'll be fun to be able to explore that as well. Mafia versus detective versus idol groups versus teacher versus police. Yeah, something like that.
Versus Cole.
Versus Cole. Yeah, Cole's got to be in there. He's got his own category. Yeah. Cool. Anybody else have any questions? Again, I can't necessarily answer everything.
Samuel says, "Does episode 1 Detective relate to everything, or is that just an intro for Detective?"
Yeah, episode 1 relates very deeply to the story as a whole.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. That to be fair, that was its own standalone before we even came up with this idea. However, we took that and sort of, you know, carefully manufactured and designed this whole thing to draw from that. So it is very much related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the whole showdown there that happens is very important to the series. Yeah, for sure.
Why does Cole exist?
Yeah, why is he? What's up with that
Because
guy?
existence is better than non-existence.
Isn't it? Isn't it? I like that answer. Oh, why does Cole even exist? Um, Honestly, it's one of those things where I would love to have him be on the scene more, but when you're only writing songs and you can't have like, if this was an anime, I would tell the entire thing from his perspective.
Yep.
But because it's a series of songs and you're limited to the amount of words you can use, um, and you got to make it catchy. You have to make things rhyme and sound good. All of these kind of things. There was no way I could tell the entire thing from his point of view. My intention was to, because that would be great to have everything from his view, but instead it is what it is. It just can't be. So he exists because that was, um, I guess, how it had to be. He also
Yes.
helps to clue in some information, I guess. But
Can it become an anime? You know, that
Can
would
it
be awesome.
I would love that. Yeah, Cole is the man. You're right. You're so right. I would love for it to become an anime. I hope one day it could be. That'd be really, really cool. We'll see if we can get there. I have other plans for that industry. I've got another story I'm writing in the background behind everything that I also want to make an anime or something like it. So, but if Criminal Idol gets enough interest, if it gets big enough, we'll try to make it happen. That's going to be my answer for that.
Warm Milk wants to know, will there be songs that go deeper into, you know, like the various other characters and their perspectives?
Like the Meteor Girls and Aka Sensei and so on.
And
Um,
and yeah.
Yeah, and the getting more into the character development of So through the second season, we haven't written everything out yet, so I can't say for certain about what's going to happen. And I don't want to promise anything that won't happen, but our intention is to draw deeper into the experience of the girls at the least, so that we can get a fuller and more fleshed out identity and personality for them all. We want to. That's why we're doing like a episode thing. I don't know if you were here earlier, but we have the songs, but before every song and after or whatever, there are short segment videos or short segmented animations, if you will, of the characters interacting with each other, like in a conversation or through a scene, through an action scene or whatever. And in those scenes, we hope to be able to kind of showcase their personalities a lot better, showcase who they are on the inside, and spend more time with the characters. Um, that's our intention. So hopefully we get to see more than just the girls. Hopefully we get to see Meteor as well. Meteor does have a part to play in the second season. So if you're worried or wondering about that, yes, right now as it is currently written out, they have a pretty vital part in making everything go down.
Right on.
Do we know who the poor man is?
Do we know who the poor man in the poor man's briefcase is? No, we do not. We do not know who that man is. I have not revealed that yet. And I had no intention originally to reveal who that person was. But if it
I
works
think
for
it's
the
a
second
guy.
season.
I think it's a guy named Poor Man.
It is Poor Man. Yes, actually, the ring bearer.
It's a guy named Poor Man because it was only one word instead of two.
Poor Man. Oh yeah, that's right. The original spelling of it was Poor Man.
Yeah.
Was one word. Poor Man.
Close to
Poor man's
a poor
briefcase.
man briefcase.
Poor man's briefcase. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, poor man's must have been his last name because you don't address someone with a
Yeah.
in front of it unless there's multiple of them. So poor man must have been his last name.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Does Ryan know who the poor man is? No, he does not.
Oh. Well, that's even more awkward.
Yeah, I can't even tell you.
I don't
I'm
think.
sad Criminal Idol will eventually have to end. Yeah. But I'm really excited to see how it plays out. Yeah, me too. I'm really excited to see where it goes from here too. Hopefully we can get it out to you guys in less than 5 years. No, that'll definitely be a thing. You won't have to wait that long ever again, I hope. That's terrible on my part, but hey, it happens. I will admit it's not all my fault, but I will take blame for it. Poorman, Freeman. You've got people with the last name of Freeman, like Morgan Freeman. And so there's also Poorman, Morgan Poorman. Morgan
All right,
Poorman.
so canon, his name is Morgan.
Morgan, yes, that's his name. Poorman, Inclusive Poorman's briefcase. His name is Morgan Poorman. I like it.
Morgan Poorman.
That's great.
That is beautiful. Ooh, wow.
Hey guys, how'd I get here with a risky prep episode? I hope nobody sees this, but I'm struggling. I'm smuggling this bomb into the concert. That's great. That's a great vlog. That's great.
Yes. Oh, nice.
What's that?
We're right at the 2-hour mark.
Okay, cool.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Well, sorry for talking your ears off, everybody. I hope that was enjoyable to learn all the, some of those clues and behind the scenes. If you want more, there is more. You can definitely go get the book at bss.studio, and then you can click on the store there. I'll put a link in the chat. Or buy any of the other awesome products that we just came out. Thank you to everybody who's showed up. Thank you for everybody who backed the Kickstarter so we could have these products for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sitting here and chatting with us and for all the great comments. But yeah, we hope to see you guys again soon. And
There are less than 50 flash drives left in the store
only
on
50.
BSS. Yeah, 48
great.
left.
48.
48?
Wow.
Wow.
And 3 from the CD, 311 for the plushie, and 354 for the book.
Fair enough.
Nice. That's awesome.
And the chase, as of the wrap up of this viewing,
Oh yeah.
we are at, for the chase, 9,964. So closing in on 10,000 plays in less than a day.
Very sweet.
Thanks. And I love you too. You're awesome. I love all you guys. You guys are so awesome. And yeah, if you're gonna buy anything, make sure you use the code Launch Party all in caps. That way you get a discount. It's for this week, I guess. So
Launch
enjoy it.
party.
No, thank you, Ryan. No, thank you, Regal.
No,
You
thank
shut your mouth.
Thank
You
you,
shut your
Regal.
And thank you. And everyone at BSS, I told you to shut your mouth. No. Thank you so much. We love you guys. You guys are awesome to us.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are great. Have a nice night. Everybody, have an awesome rest of your day / night, whatever time it is for you. And we hope to see you guys very soon. I hope you guys subscribe and hit the bell on this channel because we do live streams on this channel. More organized than this one. But we do a Double Cup of Joe and we do Don't Worry Wednesday. Both of them really great things. Joe just joined us. Joe, did you have something you want to say?
What's that?
Did you want to say something?
Actually, that's not Joe.
That's his.
His
Character
name is
from-
Plebnub.
Minecraft.
Ah, it is Plebnub.
Plebnub.
wait.
Was that a T-pose? Were you doing a T-pose? Hmm.
Oh, there's Plebnub.
That's what
There's
Plebnub looks like. Yeah, that's what Plebnub looks like. That's perfect. Plebnub is a Minecraft character that Joe made.
Did you know
Feel
we were
free
leaving right now?
to
You
join?
guys, you guys are leaving?
Yeah, we were just
we
about to
thought
head out.
we thought you were hopping
Hey.
on because we were leaving.
Oh,
wanted to say something.
I didn't know.
Man,
I've
that's perfect.
I've been marking boxes and all kinds of stuff. Let my phone
Have you been
shut.
writing box on them?
Box.
That's my next step.
Mhm.
Nice.
Mhm.
That's the company that is going to be confused when they ship those. They're just going to be like, box says box on the
Box,
side.
box,
Okay.
Okay.
box.
There are a couple of boxes that say box on the side. Why do they have to label it a box? They should know it's a box. Does someone really not know? Come on, guys. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you should know. And well, they'll probably see. Actually, it doesn't say Criminal Idol anywhere on here, does it?
No, I don't think so.
No. It says Black Static and Swerve though.
Mhm.
So
There you go.
They'll know that we like boxes.
They'll know that
they'll
we
have
need
to
help
find out.
identifying our boxes.
Yeah, they're like, oh, these guys are a bunch of smart pants if they need to identify what a box is. What do they have? Like, maybe, I guess there's a chance that we had a bunch of other cardboard sitting around and we were confused about what was for boxes and what was for something else. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, actually, you guys are giving us a real problem, all you guys that are ordering stuff, because speaking of boxes, I only have 2 left of one of the sizes of boxes.
Whoa.
Oh man, we have to fix that.
Yeah, so we will be putting in a box order
A
for all
box
of you.
order for boxes.
Or I'll
Yeah,
start making my own boxes.
that's a pretty cool problem to have.
Yeah.
Start making some boxes.
Box sending service.
Box sending service. That's awesome.
I mean,
Box
I've got
sending
like these big boxes of that the plushies came in,
Oh,
so like
man.
I can just like
You
cut
could
them
send
into.
one of those.
That's a perfect size for a flash drive.
Oh, yes, yes. Send literally only that with a flash
I would
drive in
use
it.
that. I use that whole roll of paper to pack it.
Nice.
Yeah. No, everybody go to bss.studio. Go to the store and order stuff.
Yeah, cause more problems for Joe.
Oh,
He likes
man.
it.
Keep me busy here. This is great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's fun.
All right. Thanks, Pleb.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
outta
Hope you
here.
had a fun
See
night,
ya.
and we will see you soon. We love you guys. Peace.
See ya.
Bye-bye.